Okay. Vibor, Suhani, are you guys still able to
Yeah,
like if okay.
yes.
Was it just me or
So there was a issue from our end.
okay, there was a
Yeah.
technical glitch, I guess. Okay, cool. Do I wait or should I just continue from where I left off? I think I can continue, right? Because I see 45 participants already in the meeting.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool. Perfect. Yeah, sorry about that technical glitch, guys. What we are going to do is we are just going to continue from where we left off. So as I was saying, the first thing that we will see is the out-of-the-box agents, like how you can use these agents. We will show you some of those. The second bucket is going to be uh, how you can build your own agents, because yes, UiPath does provide a lot of out-of-the-box agents for you, but then your testing process might be different. If you are in different companies, if you are in different teams, you might have your own testing process. You might be doing something that the others are not doing. So we recognize that, and for that reason, what we have done is we have also provided the ability to build your own custom agents that can help you with your testing process. Okay, so we will talk about that a little bit, and I'll show you an example of one of the agents just as an example so that you can understand that concept. And then finally, the third one that we are going to speak about, the third bucket is going to be what we call autopilot chat. Now, this is a capability that is going to be in public preview soon. It's not even in public preview now. It's going to be in public preview next week. But what we want to show you is we want to show you a glimpse of what this autopilot chat means, how you can bring all the agents together, and how you can have a seamless chat kind of an experience within the UiPath Test Cloud platform to orchestrate your testing. Okay, that's basically going to be the agenda. So just a very important distinction between what traditional testing and what agentic testing is, because with UiPath Test Cloud, you can of course perform traditional testing, but then it's a platform that has a lot of AI agents built into it. So that means you can also do agentic testing with UiPath Test Cloud. But then what is the difference? The main difference that we see between traditional testing and agentic testing is how these AI agents can make your testing process more seamless and how it can make it more dynamic. And I'll give you an example of this. Traditionally, if you looked at testing, the only automation that you can do in testing is taking a test case, a bunch of test case, and automating it, right? That's as far as automation testing went, right? But the rest of the things that you do in testing, like the things like designing test cases, understanding the test results, trying to run a test case when your environment is changing. These kind of things used to be very difficult because your test cases were more rule-based, step-by-step instruction as what to do in traditional testing. But with agentic testing, your whole testing that you do can actually become more dynamic. What it means is with these AI agents, now you have the capability to automate the thinking part of testing, right? Things like I have a requirement. What are the best test cases that I can design to thoroughly test this requirement? Now, previously, this had to be done manually, but now with AI, you can outsource this thinking to the AI agents, and the AI agents can give you a really good description of what needs to be covered in testing. So it can help you with the design of test cases. It can help you manage your environment changes automatically. It can help you make sense of your test results. So in that sense, agentic testing is a very dynamic way of testing your applications compared to the traditional testing, which is a very static and a task oriented kind of way, right? This is where the industry is heading, right? From traditional testing to agentic testing. Now, just the example that I was giving you earlier, if you look at testing can be broadly classified into these four buckets. Any activity that you do in testing can be classified into these four buckets: design, automation, execution, and test management. So each of these boxes that you see here, they are nothing but the individual tasks that you would do within that particular bucket. So for example, when you're designing, you would basically get your requirements from an external tool like Jira, Azure DevOps. You will evaluate the requirement, and then you will try to design test cases based on the requirements. And you could see here, traditionally in testing, a lot of this was done by humans, by manually it was done, and there were very few automations, very few tasks which could be automated, right? But now this is what I was telling you earlier with AI, with these really intelligent systems. You can actually, what you can do is this AI agents can help you in a lot of these tasks. In fact, pretty much any task that you do within testing can actually now be enhanced with an AI agent. And what is important to note here is that we are not saying that these AI agents are going to replace human intuition. No, that's not what we are saying, because you can see that clearly. The human is still there. The human is still there in the loop, still there, a part of the task. What this AI agent is helping you do is, it is just helping you do things more efficiently. It can help you mitigate your blind spots, things that you didn't consider. So it can be a faithful assistant for you in all of these tasks in your testing process, right? So that's where we see the testing industry is moving towards, right? And as the reason why we build this UiPath Test Cloud product, this is basically our vision. The vision is to augment testers with AI agents to extend, simplify, and accelerate their work. So whatever work you considered monotonous, whatever you considered boring, whatever you considered hard in the past, so these AI agents are here to basically help you with that. Right. And having said that, so this is what we're going to look at first. The out of the box agents that are available in the platform that can help you with your testing process. Okay. What you're seeing here, each of this orange colored box are individual AI agents. These agents, each of this agent is going to help you do something. For example, we have an agent that can generate test cases for your SAP applications. We have an agent that can look at your requirements and tell you how to improve your user stories and requirements. There is an agent that can help you create automation test cases. There is an agent that can help you heal your test automation when your test automation fails. So there are different kinds of agents within the platform that can help you do different things, right? And what we are going to do is we are going to look at some of these agents today. So all of these are out-of-the-box agents, right? It's available out of the box in the UiPath Test Cloud environment, so you can just take them and just use them. There is no need for you to build them or customize them, okay? And we're going to look at some of these examples today, okay? The first agent that you're going to see, we are, by the way, within the UiPath Test Cloud environment. UiPath Test Cloud it's very similar to Automation Cloud, but this is basically for application testing use cases. So you can buy this product and you can use this product for testing your software applications, okay? Now, what I'm doing is I'm going into a particular project inside UiPath Test Manager, which is the management layer for UiPath Test Cloud, okay? And we are going to use this agent called Search with Autopilot. Now, what is this agent? This agent is a natural language search agent. So usually in testing, when someone assigns you work, let's say there is a test manager who assigns you a bunch of test cases, right? And says, in this sprint, you're supposed to run these test cases and tell me whether the application's behavior is working fine or not. So what you would do in the past is you would have to go search for which test cases are assigned to you, and that itself will take you a lot of time. Now, with this AI-powered search called Search with Autopilot, what you can do within the UiPath ecosystem is you can search your UiPath projects in natural language. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just say, show me all requirements assigned to me in the current sprint S152 that haven't been tested yet. So what am I saying? This is kind of a complex query if you look at it, right? Because I'm asking it to do three things. What are the three things? I'm asking it to show me requirements or user stories that are assigned to me, right? Not to anyone else, but to me, in the current sprint. So I'm asking it to get this from a particular sprint that I'm working on. And I'm also telling it, just show me those requirements that has not yet been tested by anyone, so that I can start testing those requirements, right? So it's a pretty complex search. There are three levels of information here in this search. So what you will see here is,
are you sharing your screen? Somehow I'm not able to see.
are you guys able to see my screen? Can anyone give a sign that you guys are able to see my screen?
Yeah, it's
Yes,
visible.
I have visible.
Okay. Okay, cool. So I guess most of you are able to see my screen then. Sorry, whoever said you're not able to see my screen, maybe you might want to check your internet connection.
Okay, I'll check.
Yeah,
Thank you.
cool. Okay. So what you're going to see here is now UiPath actually returns a search result based on the query that you gave in natural language. So you did not write any SQL queries or anything like that to search, all in natural language, and then it gives you, these are all the requirements that are assigned to me, and that is from the current sprint called S152. And you can see here, it does not have any test cases linked to it. So basically it's giving me and telling me that, hey, these are the requirements that do not have any test cases. So that means you have not tested any of these requirements because you don't have any test cases. You better go and try to create test cases for this, right? So this is what we mean by natural language search. You can write any kind of complex search queries, and UiPath will return the results for you within this window. And for those of you who have used external tools like Jira or Azure DevOps, for example, Jira has its own search language, right? Called Jira Query Language, JQL, right? It's not really easy to learn those query languages to search for artifacts. What you can do is you can integrate UiPath with Jira, and then you can simply search Jira, the requirements in Jira, directly from UiPath using this natural language. So these are all things that are going to help you do your work more efficiently, right? That is the first out-of-the-box agent that we wanted to show you, right? Now, once I have this requirement, what I'm going to do is, of course, I want to start testing this requirement, right? So I'm going to pick one requirement called create loan request, okay? So this is just a sample requirement, right? Like when you're applying a loan, should the loan be approved or rejected? It's just an example requirement that we are using here. So what you will see here is this requirement or user story, it does not have any test cases right now. So what we are going to do is we are now going to use our second out-of-the-box agent called generate test cases. So at the moment I click on this option called optimize coverage, you can see here that UiPath tells me that there are three agents that I can use to optimize the coverage for the requirement. There is an evaluate quality agent, there is a generate test case agent, there is a find outdated tests agent, right? So there are three different agents meant to do three different things. In this case, we are going to use the generate tests agent because this is the agent with which we are going to generate the manual test cases. So I want to design test cases for this requirement. So I'm going to use this agent here, okay? Now this agent you can provide any kind of document as an input for this agent. Now you can provide text documents. Text documents can be in any language. It can be in English, it can be in Japanese, it can be in Mandarin, it can be pretty much Bahasa Indonesia, any language that you have. Your documents can be written in any language. You can provide those documents here as context for this agent, right? So this can be your requirement specifications, this can be your functional specification document, anything can be provided here. You can even provide images of your application, like screenshots of how your application screens look like. You can upload that here. We support JPG and PNG format. We also support business process diagrams. So if you have .bpmn, business process diagrams of your business process, you can actually put them here. So any of these documents can actually be uploaded. And what you will see here is you can then select what documents you want the AI to consider. You can also leverage RAG. So in case all this information is not present in a document, but is present in an external third-party tool, I'm sorry, okay. Sorry, there was a pop-up that came on my screen. Sorry about that. This leverage RAG allows you to connect to third-party systems where you might be maintaining data. So for example, you might have Confluence or SharePoint or OneDrive where you're maintaining information about your applications, about your requirements and user story. There is no need for you to import all of those. You can directly set up connections to these third-party systems, and we can directly consume content from these third-party systems if you leverage our RAG. Okay, and then what you could do is in this agent, this is where you can provide your prompt. So here I'm going to provide a very simple prompt. I'm asking it to generate test cases, 10 test cases based on some conditions. This is where I can select the model that I want. So we have, we usually, the models that we support out of the box are Azure OpenAI, Anthropic Claude, and Google Gemini. So we provide you these models directly from our SaaS experience. Of course, if you want, you can also bring your own model if you have the same subscription of these same models like Azure OpenAI or Google Gemini or Anthropic Claude. Okay, so this is where you could basically select the model that you want, and you could just go and ask it to generate test cases for you. Now, what UiPath is going to do is it's going to end up generating manual test cases for you. Okay, and you can look at the test case, you can expand the test case. It even creates detailed step-by-step description of what needs to be done within the test case. So it's not just giving you the name of the test case, it's also giving you the detailed step. It's a very accurate AI agent. A lot of our customers actually use this today in their testing processes to test applications. So what you can now do is you as a user can review the test case and decide which test case you want to accept. So I can just select the test cases I want, and I can click on create, and you can see here those test cases are immediately created by UiPath, right? So this requirement is now going to be covered by these 4 manual test cases, okay? And now what you can do as a user is you don't want to keep this manual, right? I mean, yes, you generated a manual test case. If you had done this without AI, it would have taken you, I know I've heard customers say, without any AI, without using UiPath, it took them 2 to 3 days to create test cases for a complex requirement, right? A very complex requirement. It takes them anywhere from 2 to 3 days easily to create different kinds of test cases for that requirement. But with this AI, you can do this in like probably a few minutes to probably an hour or so, right? So it's going to save you a lot of time. But of course, we don't want to keep these test cases manual because UiPath is really good at automation. What we want to do is we want to take those manual test cases and we actually want to automate them. So this is where you can move into Studio, and then you can leverage our third out-of-the-box agent. Now, this agent, what it does is it takes the manual test case and creates an automation test case out of it. So previously, without this AI, what would you have done? You would have went into Studio. You would have, if you're using low-code, no-code approach, you would have dragged and dropped the activities and configured the activities. If you're using the pro-code approach, you would have written C#.NET code to create the automation test case. But with this, what you can do is the AI agent can simply take your manual test case and create the automation test case for you, right? In this example, what I'm going to show you is I'm going to show you how you can create a coded automation test case out of a manual test case, okay? But remember, you can also do this for low-code, no-code. In my example, I'm just showing you the pro-code test case, which is in C#.NET, okay? So you can just take the manual test case. So UiPath Studio has this section called Test Explorer. So Test Explorer will basically show you all the manual test cases that are present in Test Manager. So you can just right-click on the test case you want, and you can ask it to create the automation test case for you. So you can see here we have two options, one for coded test case, the other one for low-code, no-code test case. In this example, I'm going to use the coded test case option. So you see that it has taken all the manual steps from the test case, populated it as a code comment inside the editor. And now what you could just do is you could select the code, comment, and ask it to generate the automation test case. The important thing to note here is that when you're using this AI agent to convert a manual test case into an automation test case, the prerequisite is the object repository. So you need the object repository already set up for your application. Only then the AI agent can convert the manual test case into an automation test case. Without the object repository, it won't be able to do this. Okay. For those of you, if you don't know what an object repository is, object repository is just a centralized place where you can scan your applications and save the controls that are present in your applications so that you can reuse these controls in different automation test cases. So for example, if you have a username field, a password field, and a submit button on the login page, what you can do is you can capture the username field, the password field, and the submit button into the object repository, and then you can use this in any automation test case that you want. So there is no need for you to again and again capture the same control. So it makes maintenance easier when the control changes. So that's basically what an object repository is. Okay. So here, this is what I'm showing, that you already have an object repository, and then you're going to use this manual test case and actually convert that into an automation test case, right? So when I click on generate code, you're going to see that UiPath soon creates a C#.NET automation test case for you. So every code comment has a corresponding C#.NET code. And if you actually run this test case now, it is actually an automation test case. It's not a manual test case anymore, right? Of course, we are not saying here that the AI agent is 100% accurate. So does this mean you don't need automation developers anymore? No, that's not what we are saying. What this means is, as a developer, your life becomes more easier. So you don't have to develop these automation test cases from scratch anymore. You can simply have the AI create the scaffolding, create the framework for you, and then you can go in and you can make changes and you can edit it the way that you want. Okay, so it's just going to make your automation test case development more faster, right? That's basically the idea of this AI agent, right? Cool. So up until now, we've seen 3 out-of-the-box agents. An agent that allows you to search UiPath projects in natural language. Second agent that generates and designs manual test case for you from requirement documentation. And third, how you use AI agent to convert a manual test case into a coded automation test case, right? If you want, you can also use the agent to create a low-code, no-code automation test case from manual test cases, right? Now, the fourth agent that we are going to see, called Autonomous Test Execution Agent, this agent, the first 3 agents that I showed you, it's already GA. It's generally available. You can use this in production. It's already present in the product. This Autonomous Test Execution Agent, we are going to soon put this into preview. Okay. What is this agent? This is also an out-of-the-box agent. And what does this agent do? It helps you take a manual test case and helps you execute the manual test case in automation mode without building automation test cases. So there is no need for you to build any automation test cases. So what you saw earlier, where we used the AI agent to convert the manual test case into an automation test case, you don't have to do that because there is no need to even have an automation test case. You just give the agent your manual test case instruction. The agent will automatically execute it in automation mode without object repository, without any automation to be written and maintained, right? That's what this agent is. This will soon be in preview, but just as an example here, within Test Manager, you're going to see how we're going to do this. So I'm just showing you those different things in here. Maybe let's pick one of the test case in here. And what we're going to show you is basically the automation tab. So you can see that this test case is actually not automated. So there is no automation linked to this test case. So it's really a manual test case, right? And if I go into the manual steps, you would be able to see the different manual steps, all written in natural language, which is what you're seeing right now. So what you're going to do is we can now run this with autopilot. So if you click on this option called Run with Autopilot, it's going to ask you for the URL of the app. One important thing to note here is that this agent that I'm showing you right now, this autonomous test execution agent, which runs a manual test case as an automation test case, that agent is applicable only for web applications currently, okay? It's not applicable for desktop-based applications. Soon it will be made available, but to begin with, we are just providing this agent only for web applications, okay? You could simply provide the URL of your app, and you can basically provide, choose the model that you want to use to run this. And then what you could basically do is you could actually end up just hitting this run button. Now, what is going to happen is UiPath is going to take the manual test case. It's going to take these manual steps. And what it's going to do is it's going to try to execute this in an automated fashion. So we did not even build anything here. There is no automation that is being built. There is nothing being built here. So the idea here is how you could leverage this to basically, like take a manual test case and just run it in automation mode, right? Again, just while it is executing, just to let you know, does this mean there is no need for you to automate any test cases anymore? No, that's not the answer. So there are very specific places where you can use it. Remember, any execution that is done through this mode will be a little slower compared to the native automations that you build in UiPath, because the native automation will always be faster. Because it is going to use selectors and it's going to try to identify the controls. So the execution of a automated test case that you create will be more faster than this autonomous test execution, because the autonomous test execution will be kind of slow. So basically the idea here is, if you have team members who are finding it very difficult to pick up automation, maybe they can use these agents to, execute their manual test cases in automation mode. If you are an automation developer, you can still end up automating the test case because that execution is always going to be much faster than this autonomous test execution speed, right? We are also trying to improve the speed for this agent. So when it is out in preview, you can try it out and see and give us some feedback. That will be really great, right? And of course, you can also see that we capture the execution log when the execution is actually being done. And yeah, so that's that for that agent. Okay, so out of the box agents, we have seen 4 agents. Generate tests from requirements, generate coded automation, search project in natural language, and run manual test cases autonomously, right? So these are all the out of the box agents. So shifting gears a little bit, next, what we're going to see is we're going to see how you can build your own agent. So if you want to build your own agent to achieve a certain outcome in your testing process, how you can do that. That's basically what the second part of this story is going to be. A lot of you might be familiar with Agent Builder and Studio, inside which you can build these agents now. But the idea here is, if you are not very familiar with how you build the agents within the UiPath ecosystem, I'll just do a very quick high-level overview here. So basically, there are 4 important points to consider when you're building agents. The first important point to consider are the prompts. So we usually have 2 kinds of prompts. One is called a system prompt and the other one is called a user prompt. So these are basically instructions to the agent on what they are supposed to do, right? So that's what system prompt is. So system prompt is you just giving plain natural language instruction to the agent to tell it what kind of an agent it is, what it is supposed to do. So those kind of things go into the system prompt. User prompt is basically the input that you give the agent as a user. Like what is the input that it is going to take from you, right? That's called the user prompt, right? That's the first category. The second important point in building an agent is the context. Of course, you need to provide context to the agent. This can be in the form of documents, can be in the any kind of document, text-based, image-based. You could even sometimes give videos as context and stuff like that. So you could do different kinds of things here, right? And the third thing is tools. Tools are basically nothing but the automations that you build that you provide the agents, because agents by themselves can think but cannot act. For them to be able to do something, you have to give them tools. So, so any activity that you have within UiPath, any automation that you build within UiPath, all of this can be provided as tools to this agent, right? So that's what we mean by tools, right? And then, of course, escalations, because if the agent is not able to achieve its outcome, if it's not able to do something, who should it escalate to? Should it escalate to a person? Should it escalate to a team? How do you want to help it? All of those are handled within the escalations, right? So those are the four main things, which is what you're going to see in this example as an agent. So this is a data retriever agent. So what this agent basically does is, in my testing process, when I want to do testing, I need test data, right? For my test cases, I need test data. So usually teams spend a lot of time trying to find the right kind of test data, right? It takes almost 30 to 40% of the project effort goes into trying to find the right kind of test data for your test cases, right? So with this agent, this is a custom agent that we have, just as an example, we have designed this, where you can have it search for test data and provide you the test data, right? So it's going to do that. And how does this agent does it? It basically does it in a certain process, in a certain way. It takes the input from you in natural language, so you can give it a natural language input. It tries to convert that natural language input into an SQL statement using the tools it has available, it has access to. And then what it does is it takes this SQL statement, runs it on a test database, and then tries to retrieve the test data from the test database and give you the test data. Okay, so that's what this agent tries to do. It has access to two tools. One tool to convert the natural language query into a SQL statement, and the second tool to run the SQL statement on a database, get the results, and show you the test data in an easily consumable way, right? That's basically what this agent is supposed to do. So what I'm showing you here is just the agent where it's actually built. And this is basically that system prompt. You can use variables within the system prompt to pass data into the agent and get data from the agent and stuff like that. So here in natural language, we have defined the goal for this agent. What is this agent supposed to do? This is, of course, the user prompt. This is going to be the input that a user gives it. This is the section where you can configure the tools. So we have two tools here, like I told you, that we have already built in UiPath and we have configured. It also has a section where you can see an agent score. So what we do is, through this agent score mechanism, we tell you whether you have followed the best practices when you're creating an agent. So it will tell you, how good your prompts are. Are you using the best practices from a tooling context? So it's basically going to check and tell you how you can improve the agent if you want to improve the agent, right? So you can see that information right in here, right? So now what's going to happen is you could just go ahead, and when you execute this agent, you would be able to see the history of all the executions. You would be able to see all the different tools that are being called, in which order they are being called, how much time it takes for each tool to execute. All of that. Is it making any LLM call? All of that information can be seen here in the execution trace. And by the way, this is the query that we are giving the agent, right? We are asking the agent to find a male customer in Spain. over 25 with a single loan amount between 30K to 45K. And it's basically went ahead and taken the natural language query, converted it into an SQL statement, run that SQL statement to get us this data. And it has even formatted the test data in a nice way for us, right? It clearly calls out for each field what is the test data in a really easily consumable way, right? You could build agents like this. We will be, I mean, if you're interested, reach out to any of your UiPath contacts. Sorry, I think someone needs to be unmute. Okay, great. So reach out to your UiPath contacts. We have a lot of examples of a lot of different kinds of agents that some of our customers have built, some of our partners have built. So, maybe we can show you some maybe slides of, concept ideas of what kind of agents you can build so that, you could take some motivation from there, right? Okay. So yeah, these are just some examples of some of the agents, custom agents that you can build, like a data retrieval agent is what we saw. But then you could build, targeted testing agent that depending on the application's impact, it can run certain test cases instead of running your whole test suite. So there are different kinds of agents that you can do. And this, for example, one of our customers built a very similar agent like the one that I showed you. Not the one that I showed you is an example, but the customer built a data retrieval agent. And with that, they were able to see 260K savings, dollars of savings per year, right? We'll be later sharing this slide deck with you. I mean, you can have a look at the details, but you could really save a lot of time and money when you automate things like this using AI within your testing process, right? Now we are going to the last bit of the demo where what we're going to see is this is called as autopilot chat, where you can basically leverage a network of agents. So I showed you out-of-the-box agents, and then I showed you a custom agent. So if you have a fleet of agents, how you can talk to these agents in natural language, and how you can easily consume these agents inside a chat experience. That is what we call autopilot chat. It's soon going to be in preview, like it's going to be in preview next week. It's a public preview, and then you guys can get your hands on it and play with it. It's a really cool capability. We are super excited about it. Just want to show you an example of that, right? So what you're going to do here is this is the autopilot chat. So what that means is this chat interface has access to all the agents within the UiPath ecosystem, whether it's just out-of-the-box agent or a custom agent that you built and published, right? So what you can do is you can now talk to UiPath like how you talk to your colleagues. You could just go and say, hey, where can I find information? We previously used to go to ChatGPT and search. No need to do all of that. You can directly ask questions within Autopilot. So here I'm asking, where can I find information about Test Manager's API? And then what it's going to do is it's going to actually give me a bunch of information about Test Manager API. So you could use this as a tool, just like your ChatGPT, right? There's no need for you to go outside of the UiPath ecosystem anymore. And you could even ask it questions like how I told you earlier. Show me requirements that do not have any test cases yet. And then what it's going to do is it's going to show you those requirements. I can simply tell it, hey, okay, all these requirements, maybe I want to pick one of the requirement and I want to generate test cases for one of the requirements. So what I can do is I can simply tell it in natural language here, hey, why don't you help me create test cases for one of these requirements? So you see, help me generate test cases for calculate premium requirement. I'm just chatting with it. It figures out what agent to use, and it's telling me what agent is available that can help generate test cases for me. In fact, it is asking me, should I go ahead and generate test cases for you? Yeah, you can just go ahead, provide it the context, and then what you would see here is it can now go and generate those test cases for you, right? It's the same experience. So basically what you're doing is you're chatting with this, and you could just go generate, and it's going to generate a bunch of test cases. And then you would see that within the chat interface, Of course, you have to review and accept the test case. So that's basically what I'm doing here, reviewing and accepting the test case. And then what I could do is I could simply go say, hey, find me test data so that I can use some test data to run my test cases with. So I don't even have to go out to a separate experience. I could just type the question in here. It knows that it has access to a custom agent that can be used to retrieve the test data. So it's actually going to do that and give me the test data directly within the chat interface. So the idea here is there is no need for you to go outside of the UiPath ecosystem. So this is where we are seeing testing going, right? It becomes so seamless, so easy that you can actually, chat with UiPath like how you're chatting with your colleagues, and you can get your work done. Okay, so that's the pretty much the end of it. Just a couple of slides to end my session. After that, we will take some Q&A. This is an IDC report. IDC actually is a very well-known analyst in the world. They actually did a report on our customers who are using UiPath for testing, software testing, right? And the report found out that we are talking about the customers are able to get $4 million of savings, a return on investment of around 550%, and you get your payback in 6 months. So it's a 5-6 pager report, or probably a 10 pager report. We will later maybe provide some links to it where you can get this report. It's a pretty interesting one. I recommend you go read it because it talks about what kind of savings each customer got from using UiPath for testing, application testing. And the other thing that we are super proud to also let you know is that UiPath Test Cloud has been named the leader by all the major analysts in the world. So Gartner, Forrester, IDC, all of them places as a leader in the leader quadrant. It's called a triple crown. We are super happy about it. We are super glad that a lot of our customers are taking this solution on and using it and getting a lot of value from it. Just thought that I'll just leave that with you. That's pretty much the end of my session. So what we could probably do is, I think we can take some questions. There are a few in the chat. Let's check. Okay, so Ankur asks, scan or capturing of items has to be done manually. Agent won't be doing it. Yeah, it depends on the agent. So the first agent that I showed you, which takes the manual test case and converts it into an automation test case, for that agent, you have to manually create the object repository. Okay, but for the second agent that I showed you, which is autonomous test execution agent, there is nothing to create. You just give your manual test case. There is no need for object repository. There is no need to create any automation. The agent just takes your manual test case and runs it. It depends on which agent you're using. For the first agent, if you want to create automation test case, yes, you have to create the object repository yourself. For the second agent, which is the autonomous test execution agent, you don't have to do anything. You just give it the test case and it'll execute the test case automatically by itself. No object repository, no automation, no nothing, right? Hope that answers the question, Ankur. Then Ashwin Ashok asks, do test cases have to be manually linked from Studio, or can it be done from published process in Orchestrator? Which is recommended? Good question. You need to do both. It is not an option to just do one because they serve different purposes. Publishing a test case to Orchestrator allows you to promote your test cases so that you can run test cases in parallel, you can schedule test cases, and you can run it through CI/CD pipeline, okay? So publishing test cases is mandatory. You need to publish it to Orchestrator. Otherwise, Orchestrator will not know that there is a test case that exists, okay? So that is a mandatory thing. You also need to link it to the test manager. Also, why is that? That is more for reporting purposes, because you're not going to do testing just for the sake of testing, right? When you run your test case, people want to see the results. People want to see why it failed. People want to see how many test cases passed. If you want all these results in a really nice report and dashboard, you need to link it into Test Manager. So both of these, publishing test cases to Orchestrator and linking test cases from Studio to Test Manager, these are not optional activities. You have to do both these activities, okay? I hope that makes sense, Ashwin. Someone is I mean, I don't know. Someone is asking me to stop the AI companion for a very long time. I'm not going to do that. I will leave it to Suhani to decide whether she wants to stop the AI companion that's enabled on Zoom, but I'm going to decline this request. Okay. The Prashant Deshmukh asks, does this automation execution agent consume tokens? What is the cost structure for it? It is, like I told you, the autonomous test execution agent, I think you're asking about that, Prashant, which takes the manual test case and directly runs it as an automation test case, right? So that agent is not even in preview yet, okay? So we have not figured out a cost structure for it. We don't know how it is going to be. So it's kind of too soon to comment about the cost structure and how it consumes agents and all that. So once it becomes GA, we will be communicating that to the through different channels. Okay. So unfortunately, I can't provide you a direct answer to that question, Prashant. Okay. The next question that I'm going to take is from Swati. For a feasibility POC, can UiPath autopilot assisted execution be considered adequate? It depends, Swati. It depends on what you want to do. What is considered adequate is very situation dependent. It's dependent on your teams. It's dependent on your stakeholders. What is it that they consider adequate? Yes, you're free to use the autonomous test execution agent in your POCs to show how you execute manual test cases as automation test cases. But remember, there might be some POCs where people want to see how easy it is to build an automation test case. So in those scenarios, you have to still go ahead and build those automations. So adequate is not something that I will be able to comment on. It depends on your POC scope. But yeah, you're welcome to try all these different things during a POC. Ashwin Ashok again asks, can screenplay be effectively leveraged for test cases? Would object repository be? Yeah. Ashwin Ashok, what we showed with autonomous test execution agent, it actually uses screenplay in the background. So yes, if you want to use screenplay directly within Studio, please go ahead and use that. Screenplay does not use object repository. Screenplay does not need object repository. Screenplay is a natural language. It's an activity inside Studio that takes natural language instructions and executes it as automation. You don't need an object repository when you're using Screenplay. Hope that answers the question. Sangana Basava asks, what is the framework used for agent orchestration? I'm sorry, I don't understand what you mean by that. Autopilot chat is basically a capability within UiPath that just allows you to talk to the agent and call different agents together. If you're asking like are we using any kind of agent framework to orchestrate how those agents are called, those are design decisions. I'm not aware of it. That is something that we need to check with UiPath product team to be able to answer. Okay. I'll just take 1 to 2 more questions because we are pretty much at the top of the hour. Ankur again asks, so autonomous agent will itself take care of any changes that happens in the application? Yes, kind of, right? Because what is the input that you're giving the autonomous test execution agent? It is a manual test case, right? So if your application undergoes a change, all you have to do is just go to the manual test case and update the manual test case in natural language. There is no object repository to maintain. There is no library to maintain. There is no sequence to maintain, nothing like that, right? Because you're only giving the manual test case natural language instruction as input to the agent. So if your application changes, just go in and provide new commands, new natural language steps, manual test steps to tell the agent what to do. It'll just do that. Maintenance is going to be super easy, right? Hope that answers the question, Ankur. Then I think Sudhir asks, what is pricing per user per month? How does it compare to Browser Stack? I don't understand that question. UiPath is very different from Browser Stack. Browser Stack Browser Stack can do a lot of testing, but predominantly Browser Stack is is a device farm. It provides you devices, mobile devices. It provides you web browsers where you can execute your test case. That's the major offering from Browser Stack. UiPath is a complementary offering. We are more extensive than Browser Stack. We help you design automation test cases, execute automation test cases, and we do this for literally any technology. So Browser Stack and UiPath are not competing solution. We are more complementary. So you need both. You can build automation test cases in UiPath, and you can run those automation test cases on Browser Stack. And what is the pricing per user per month? I mean, it's a very broad question. Sorry, unfortunately, I can't answer that. It depends on a lot of context. For any pricing related information, you need to be reaching out to UiPath, your UiPath contacts. Whoever you have contact with, they can put you in touch with an account executive who can actually answer any pricing related questions. Okay. I think, we are pretty much at the top of the hour. I think there are 2 to 3 questions that I was not able to answer because of the limitation of time. I hope you found the session to be helpful. I'm going to hand it over to Sahani so that she can wind up the session. Sahani, back to you if you're still around.
Yep, I'm around. That was an amazing session, Rahul. Hope all of you enjoyed the session. I have pasted the link where the recording would be uploaded. I was watching a lot of people who actually go back and look at the recording. So yes, the recording and the deck both would be on the registration page itself. After about 48 hours of this getting completed. So check out that, and I have also attached the link to the test automation chapter in case if you'd be looking around for sessions like this, what happened today. We'd be posting some of the very pretty chill webinars in that chapter only. And yeah, that was about the community. Let us know if you all have some feedback, and I'm happy to engage. Thank you.
Hey, thank you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you so much.